One thing I wanted to ask you, you started off as an editor, and I imagine you still do some editing quite a bit in the process. What was it that led you to transition from editing to being a literary agent?
Well, some of it was just opportunity. You never kind of know where things are going to shake out. After those 5 years at a packager, I had seen the business shift a little bit during that time. The publishing model, it was really interesting. When I got there, children's books were still very much in a digest paperback publishing model, like where they would do lots of series, publish one every 2 months or every 3 months. So you were always putting a new book out. Everything was straight to paperback at a certain price point, and that's what existed for that middle grade audience. When I got there, the books we were doing were Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen books. They had the license for Mary-Kate and Ashley. So I was doing like 24 books a year.
That was a huge property. I'm sure it probably still is.
Huge. Well, I think that part, no, they're onto the fancier endeavors now with their fashion design, but the girls were still 18 or like 17 or 18 when I started. And, we were doing a series for 4 different age levels of their properties. And the market changed. Like during that 5 years I was there was when Lemony Snicket came out and the Spiderwick Chronicles came out and Twilight came out. And all of a sudden we'd gone from paperback driving children's books to hardcover. And the packaging model that my company was on couldn't quite keep up with that. Because they weren't renewing contracts as quickly because now books were more expensive to produce and taking longer between each book. So what packagers at the time were known for was being able to do things very quickly and cheaply that were, the publishers couldn't handle. They needed to outsource it. And then publishers didn't need that as much because they were buying original manuscripts from authors directly, and they didn't need packagers as much to produce them. Now, granted, packagers are still alive and well. That particular company might not have been able to adapt to the times. But while I was there and watching their struggles, I found myself being tasked with reaching out to literary agents to find writers to work on the series with us. And started to think, well, if I can do all this creative work at the packager, come up with book ideas, outlines, all the editing, and I have to go find writers, like, why can't I just do that? And after about, a couple of years there, like I actually started by looking for regular editorial jobs at bigger publishing houses. And then an opportunity to become an agent, like that just kind of became more clear. And the idea of being in a more flexible, less corporate setup was appealing. And who knows, like if I that was a long time ago, I didn't know if I was going to stay in New York forever. It turns out I didn't, and wanted something I could take with me and keep going. So I made the jump, and it was kind of scary because I went from being salaried to like nothing, which is why I had other jobs, did other things along the way until I got stable enough as an agent. But yeah, it was mostly just like, it just kind of happened. Like it happened a bit organically from what my job had changed into doing and where the market was going, where children's books were evolving, and my desire to like have my own batch of talent that I was shopping and not like looking for people for, these are my clients writing these books originally. So that's how it